Our agenda is pretty busy today, as usual. We've got several good programs. We've got Roy's going to talk about scenery on his Cincinnati and Virginia Railroad.
My railroad's been in progress now for about 48 years. You have to look pretty close to be able to see any structure to the trees. Mostly what you see is the foliage. And that's basically what I was striving for in my scenery. So I started putting my paper wads in. The paper and stuff didn't fall back in the hole. I had to put some temporary backing in there. And then just last week, I got an order from Amazon. There are 3 or 4 companies now that make a generic version of this that's considerably cheaper than what you can get from Woodland Scenics. This is where I continue to cut in these to try to create this continuous rock cut on the top. So I just went in between and, like I said, knocked out places or cut them out and worked my way all the way around from one side to the other and basically created a continuous rock cut that goes all the way around that.
That's impressive.
A little bit of automation. I think it's automation. Is that automation? We've got Chris coming up from Corpus to talk about evolution of a scene.
Our railroad is the International Great Northern Railroad, and I call it the South Texas Subdivision. I grew up in Pearsall, Texas, about 50 miles south of here. So I wanted to be able to do that. Another thing that I liked about that article way back in 1975 was the opening picture was this long view down Kingsbury Street. Go see how it's finished out, because it wasn't just this Flores and Sons building I was talking about. I'm talking about the entire scene evolution. Now I have a building back here with the Z steps, and I also got really motivated and opened up a couple of windows there, and it's something on the back side of this building now in the alley here. Well, the graffiti artist got a piece of it here, and I know some people don't like that, but you know, just they'd get back there, put in some of those static grass clumps and things like this to make it look like an old Z train rider that's now, you know, derelict there and caught up in the mud. Okay, so pretty much then the evolution of the scene was from this then to this.
I wanted to show you the difference between SN3, and if I had an HO engine up here, it'd be about the same size as this SN3. It's a little engine back here, narrow gauge.
HON3 is the Texas model.
One of the solutions to this is metal tank cars. So you shift the center of gravity and the weight down, metal trucks, metal frame, and purchased the Walters bascule bridge, but we wanted it to have not only the railroad tracks, but also to include the highway across it. And you can see the old Corpus
So a couple weeks ago, actually, I went up to Dallas-Fort Worth for an operations weekend. Okay, we're going to get into running trains. Let's focus on the railroading side now. Now, this will give you an idea of one of the railroads we went to, Michael Haas. This was a room, and that's not an illusion. It's actually a divider wall. The 3 different sides of the room where this was all laid out with different industrial scenes that you ran through and it worked. But this will give you an idea of some of the different kind of industries. Some railroads, as I mentioned, a little more robust. His scenery includes a lot of false front. You notice the pictures and images in the background to give some kind of depth to the scene. But, there's different pros and cons. On his railroad, you'll notice that with a lot of details, there's also phones and clipboard holders. So you do have to call a dispatcher. And when you talk to the dispatcher, getting clearances to move from one town on to the next, giving track ran to BNN or CDNQ actually. But this will give you an idea of around the room and set up for operations. He's got some nice scenes, good track work in places. One thing that's really critical is if your trains don't run, you really can't have fun operating. When you're going around Tommy's, it is a simple flow. You got nice, clean facial. One nice thing here is he has wide aisles. And
first thing I want to talk about is the marker lamp is out, the latest edition. There's some interesting material. There's some reports on the convention that we had region. And it does cover some things that happened at our convention. We had a very successful convention in Tulsa in October. It was a good time. Reminder, I still need a nomination from you guys. If you know of any youth that has been doing some good work this year, I would like you to contact me right away.
All right, so we're here at the Galveston Railroad Museum. We are talking about our simulator today. It is an actual real simulator. When you step into that cab, it is modeled after the BNSF SD40 model. It is real, actual simulator software that was used to train BNSF. It was donated to the museum a couple months ago.
well, we're back here at Longhorn and we're back in person. So hopefully things working out well here. I was wondering when the bag got around the room with all the candy cans, how many would take two and how many would dig out the dollar bill that was in the bag. Well, that being said, come up and ask your questions. Thanks for the guys who presented and brought models in today. Other than that, thank you. That concludes our program.